Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Art of Truth podcast. Super happy to be back with you with my co-host Sean McCoy. And I'm Joshua Carlton, by the way. And just real quick, I wanted to tell you guys thank you. We've been getting a ton of feedback. We've been getting a lot of listeners. I think we're at about 3,000 listeners already. Which
Really?
Is, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly a little bit more because I checked a while ago. But, it seems like people want to hear what we have to say. And we've definitely got some stuff to say. So let's get started. First of all, it's a day early, but it's somebody's birthday tomorrow. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
Thank you.
Sean's birthday's tomorrow, and he's going to get tattooed.
By my boy Sean King.
Yep, which will be cool because I'll actually be here as well. It seems like me and Sean are never tattooing at the same time. You know what I mean? Like when I opened a private studio, I thought it'd be super cool, but to be honest with you, sometimes when it's just me and like especially a new client that I don't know, it's real kind of quiet in here, you know? So there's a good energy. Like when I come in and like when you're getting tattooed by Sean and Sean's here and like I'm tattooing my client, there's just a better energy in general. And I don't know. I really like that feeling a little bit better. I don't necessarily miss the old school shop of like random strangers coming in and
Not
stuff.
at all.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
But I definitely like that vibe of some really good people, some good clients, a lot of joking around and stuff.
Yeah, well, I love it when Sean's in the studio.
Yeah,
and especially if he's just, you, me, Sean, and Nikki or something. I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's just fun. So like, but yeah, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, man. We're both Geminis, which I think we've talked a little bit about before, but how it's interesting, to me, I remember years and years ago when someone would be like, read this about yourself, it's Gemini. And I'm like, that's such bullshit. But like, man, I tell you what, I don't know, Geminis, I think that's why you and I vibe, you know what I mean? Like Geminis definitely are very, very similar. You know what I mean? The whole duality and all that stuff.
It's funny because I can always kind of like feel like the energy off of a
Sure.
Gemini or just kind of their style and stuff. And so when I meet somebody for the first time and I feel like we're almost kind of kindred spirits or there's a connection there and it just
for sure.
similarities is probably the best way. I don't want to say kindred spirit, I can see his aura and shit. It's green like mine.
My older sister does that. She'll be like, you're purple right now. And I'm like, I kind of think you're full of shit right now.
You're totally full of shit. I'm a black gray aura dude
Right.
all the time.
You got something in your eye.
But yeah, purple hue actually goes along with mushrooms. That's one of the most addictive things. I remember always being like waiting for that purple hue.
Right.
But yeah, the Gemini thing, some of my best friends are Geminis and some people I don't like at all are Geminis. So it's definitely not like, we're all clicking and everything, but there is something to that duality, I believe. And the way our brains work and how we're able to see things from multiple viewpoints and perspectives.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I always notice about Bill Burr's crazy fucking brain when I would listen to him because he'd do a podcast.
Is he a Gemini as well?
Yeah, he's a Gemini,
Nice.
and his wife's a Gemini.
Oh, shit.
Nia, and they're like polar opposites almost. I mean, he's a pasty-ass, freckly white dude. She is a brilliant, highly educated, strong black woman, and they dated for like 10 years before they'd even get married, but they work, man. I mean, they just, whatever it is, they are common and their similarities are so fucking on point where it needs to be. So they work really well. Kind of like you and Nikki. Nikki's a Gemini.
Yeah, which is, it's interesting because I actually dated a girl once. I may have brought this up. I don't know if it's on the podcast or just you and I talking, but I dated a girl one time and we were so similar at first. I was like, this is awesome. This girl's just like me. And then it was just fucking terrible.
You know what I
mean?
The Lady Jerry from Seinfeld. Remember
That's what I thought of when they both order cereal at the diner.
Yeah.
It was just like
I don't want another me. I can barely stand myself.
Yeah, I'm fucking terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
but Nikki's a Gemini, but like she's totally her own thing going on completely.
Oh my God. You guys are polar opposites in so many ways, but you complement each other brilliantly.
I appreciate it. And
happy birthday to Nikki too.
She just had
it was
birthday.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
We just confirmed this because I thought that she got a bunch of birthday shout outs a day after her birthday. So I feel like I was right on point.
Right.
I texted her.
No, you were right.
I texted her Tuesday morning, happy birthday, Nikki.
Yeah, and I was just talking to Sean, but as the mics were warming up, but as I mentioned on the podcast before, I was slightly concerned because we had made this plan that on her birthday was a fuck it all day, cheat day, eat whatever the fuck you want, not just cake. Like we were gonna go the whole day, and like counting up to it, I was so excited because I'm just so focused on my health. I'm so focused on running, and what happened was the night before her birthday, she was talking about how she was really craving. She couldn't wait. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, don't joke around with me because I'll go get pie right now. You know what I mean? And she was like, are you serious? So we kind of talked each other into going ahead and going and getting pie at about 8:00 at night before the birthday.
Where did you get it from?
We went to Sherry's. So it's, there's a place here in town called Sherry's. Really good pie. They'll put like a pie in a milkshake, like literally, like you can order any kind.
They have really good milkshakes.
Yeah, they do. The big ass straws on it. So I was like, well, fuck it. If I'm going to eat, like if I'm going to have a cheat day, I'm doing it. So I went there and I had fucking chicken strips and mashed potatoes with bacon in them, even though that's good fats.
God damn,
and
man.
I had a slice of pie. So I immediately was like, oh, fuck. And like subconsciously, in my brain, I'm like, I just ruined all my hard work, which of course I didn't. You know what I mean? Moderation.
Not even close, yeah.
But what happened that was kind of cool for both of us is the next day, because we were like going to hit the ground running, like pancakes in the morning and all this syrup. We both were so just satiated from the night before that we actually ended up having a super healthy day and spent most of the day, you know, doing healthy activities, and then had just a really nice dinner. We went to a place called Electric Station, which is awesome because it's like inside of an old train.
Yeah.
You know, have you eaten there before?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. It's some of the best steaks I've had.
Their prime rib is like pretty much the best in town.
So I ended up having a filet and a little bit of garlic mashed potatoes. Really kept the carbs light.
You can't have like a steak without some mashed potatoes.
Just that hunk of meat alone. You know what I mean? But and then I skipped out on dessert. They had it, the kids had it, and she had a creme brulee. But I was like, I'm good. Yeah. So honestly, eating the night before, it kind of worked out because overall I ate way healthier. Oh yeah. I really basically the worst thing I did was the fried chicken strips. That was bad, and I definitely saw it in my blood the next day. It was a little bit high, but not crazy at all. So.
Now, were you satisfied that you chose the chicken strips, or did you?
The chicken strips were whatever.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, were you satisfied that you chose like the best shit? Because
Sherry's pies are great.
That's what I'm saying, man. If I'm gonna go dirty,
yeah,
I'm gonna be really picky about that dirty shit. Yeah. And so it's like I would do the pie for sure, a la mode, you know, ice cream and all that bullshit. Yeah. But chicken strips, I'm gonna leave those alone. Yeah. You know,
they tasted just like whatever chicken strips you're picturing. They tasted just like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Not that special. Yeah. So yeah. And then the next day you guys went healthy, and it's like, you know what? This actually is like more enjoyable than putting some cake in my face.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. The steak was so good that because I was thinking about it, because she was like, "Look, I'm not going to be upset if you don't eat cake or whatever." And I'm like, of course I'm going to eat cake. But honestly, I was like, man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm satisfied.
Did you guys get a cake?
No. We just decided to just...
I love it. You were like, yeah, of course we're getting cake.
No.
We're getting cake. No. That's not even... And we didn't get cake. Didn't. And that's what's up, man.
Yeah, because like I definitely have the willpower, but a cake in my house...
Oh, you have the willpower. Yeah. That's why that's evident in you not getting a cake and not even like getting a slice of a cake.
Yeah.
But your birthday's coming up too. I started being really picky about the whole dessert thing and everything, and one of my aunts is delivering a pie to my house right now.
Oh shit!
I mean, it's supposed to be there at like 3:00.
Nice.
So I'm super excited about going home and eating this pie.
So do you when you talk about pies? Do you like a fruit or
I don't. Okay, so I'll never eat a pecan pie. I don't.
Yeah.
Certain things are not supposed to be. There's not supposed to be fruit in cake, and there's not supposed to be nuts in pie. So
sure, okay.
Those are like two hardcore facets to my dessert.
So what kind of pie is she delivering?
An apple pie.
No, you can't go wrong with apple pie.
Well, I think you can. I'm so picky about my apple pie because I was spoiled. I had a 90-year-old pure Swedish grandmother, great grandmother, and she taught my aunts and my grandma, but my aunts how to cook pies. So my family, the women in my dad's side of the family, make the best pies I've ever had in my life. I'm such a fucking pie snob.
Nice.
And it sucks because I wish I could just go to the store and get a fucking apple pie, man. I wish I could be satiated and happy and satisfied with some whatever blase, apple pie. I can't, man. So I
tried it. And it's just
it's not a bad thing because I only get these pies from my aunt on my fucking birthday if I'm lucky. She'll some years she'll tell me she's bringing me one and then I don't even get it, And so she's bringing me my favorite dessert. I'm pumped about it. She told me to give some to my mom and my stepdad. That ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna eat this whole fucking pie. I got some really good vanilla ice cream at home already lined up.
Nice.
And I'm gonna have a piece every fucking night for the next until it's gone.
Yeah.
I bet it's gonna last me about 5 days.
Yeah.
And it's my birthday week.
I do that too. Yeah, I'm always like, it's my birthday week.
Bro, what is a day?
I know, right?
I mean, there's 52 weeks in a year. I'm gonna enjoy, and the Gemini moon is a whole month essentially. So we need to really revel in the fact that we're born alive, healthy,
Yeah.
and enjoying the fucking fruits of life, especially when they're, cooked and put in a fucking banging pie, man. I love them fruits.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, I'm a big berry guy too. I love berry pies and banana cream pie, and sometimes I'll break down and go get a lemon meringue pie from Sweet Life.
Lemon meringue. That's my shit.
So next time I get a lemon meringue pie, I'll kick half of it to you and Nikki. And, because by that time, it'll probably be a couple months from now, you'll be able to have a piece of pie once a week.
That's what's nice is like, so like my birthday is about 2 weeks away, and I'm like, working so hard that I feel totally confident that I can do, the same thing I did with Nikki. I can have a nice dinner.
Yeah.
I'll have dessert.
That was the test.
That's such a good, exactly. And that's such a good feeling because, we've heard me say this before because it's very important to me, but moderation. It's all about moderation. You can kind of do whatever the fuck you want.
It's discipline.
You just can't, yeah.
And moderation is a great way to build that discipline.
Yeah. And once you break that sugar addiction, it's not, because to me, it used to just be like, it's really not bad. And we've said this before, but it just tastes so much fucking better. You know what I mean? It just tastes so much better when it's like that pie is going to be so fucking good.
When it's a treat.
Yeah. And that vanilla, like I used to not be in the vanilla ice cream, but when you get the right kind.
Yeah, man.
You got to get the good kind.
Oh my God. Just like plain vanilla, plain chocolate. Yeah. There's so much to be said about that. The splendor found in those two flavors.
Yeah. When we're talking about birthdays, I like the idea of, I think celebrating your birthday, especially as an adult, is great. But what I really like the idea of, and I'd love to get more people to do this, if you've done something in your life that you're super proud of, right? A day, like I wrote a book, it became a bestseller. I'm super proud of that. The day that I release that book, I celebrate that day. You know what I mean? Like it helps you kind of motivate yourself to something you've done in your life that you're really proud of, that you worked hard for. So like say when I finally do hit my actual weight loss goal, that might be something. And it's not like a look at me day. It's just kind of like a treat yourself day.
Totally, man. I mean, what's the point of having goals if you don't enjoy when you've achieved that stuff?
You have accomplishment days, and then you start working on them. Pretty soon you've got 5 days of the year that's, hey, I might just go out to the fucking river today and float on a fucking raft. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Exactly. But make sure it's, a reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something that you're enjoying. I mean, you don't have to set up this reward and, hard work and reward system. Do whatever it is that's just keeping you motivated and consistent with whatever your stuff is to get towards your goals.
Yeah, I'm just such a fan of goal-oriented things. Even, I put on the Evergreen tattoo convention, and of course over the weekend there's pretty big stacks of cash. Like, I take my son, when we're done in the bedroom when I'm counting it, and I want him to see it. And it's not look at your dad; it's look what hard work does. This is hard work. All he sees is how many video games I can buy. But at an early age, I want to instill in him, this is the reason that you see your dad, working so hard up to Evergreen, through Evergreen. It's not like, hey, let's put on a tattoo convention. It's a big thing. You know what I mean? So I want that. I'm hoping he has memories of that.
Well, no, you're definitely training him or giving him education about life. Yeah. I mean, that's how adults function. And so that's a healthy way of showing him some adult aspects of life. This is about income.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll tell him that. I'll let him count some, or like maybe he counts the ones, I'll like let him keep them. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's always
sweet gig, dude.
I know, right? Exactly.
Sweet gig.
But I remember my dad's drawings from when I was younger. So there's things that always stick in your mind. I'm hoping that he remembers early on. My dad taught me this, because I've tattooed some very successful multi-millionaire people. And I love kind of slightly interviewing them while I'm tattooing them. Mm-hmm. And 99% of the time, they say they had fantastic parents.
It's a huge part, man. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, success is subjective. So I consider you successful, but you might not have had the best parental support growing up.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird for me, yeah.
Yeah, and I consider myself a success, but I definitely didn't have the conventional upbringing, and I definitely didn't have a lot of support. But it was because, and that's where subjectively I'm a success, because I'm still alive and I'm not a piece of shit, and I made a complete 180 in how I was living my life and what my purpose was here on the planet in this existence. Right. So, that's a success to me. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I had to work really fucking hard to do.
Yeah. And see, I've always said that it's very difficult for you to see your own success. I call it the artist curse. I can do a painting and people will love it, but I'll just notice the parts that I don't like. I have a feeling for you that you're a little bit blinded to just how much you've improved yourself, because I've known you for quite a while now. And until I got to really know you, I had no idea that your past was so, I'll just crazy for the lack of a better word. No offense to that, but like you are so fucking on top of things that it's difficult to put those two together.
Everybody says that about me.
Yeah. So like, and I don't even know if you maybe even realize it, that like, it's pretty fucking impressive, man.
Well,
like,
thank you.
Yeah. Like you got your shit fucking on lockdown. Like there's not many people I know that are more organized. You've never even been 30 seconds late to an appointment. I can count on you like clockwork, which is super nice because people are fuck ups and they're always wasting my time. You've never wasted my time. You know, you're very prepared. You're always ready to go. In fact, to the point that when I'll come in on my appointment and kind of dick around. But when I tattoo you, because you do it to me, do you ever notice? I'm ready to go.
Yeah, man.
I'm ready to
Which
go.
Fucking almost makes me like, I need to get here a little bit earlier.
Sure.
Even though I'm on time or a little early, I'm like, man, this guy's been waiting for me.
Yeah, people like work off of that. So I always know Sean's not going to waste my time. So when you get here, I charge by the hour. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go. Fucking let's go. You're sitting down getting tattooed within minutes. And sometimes there's some people who they'll be a little late. So when they come in, I'm still eating or I haven't made the stencil yet. You know what I mean? So just from the outside, like it's pretty cool. Like I said, it wasn't until I got to know you, but you've been through a lot of shit and you could have so easily chose a myriad of paths, jail, death.
Yeah.
Fucking who knows?
Who knows? But
you chose to get your shit together, you know, and life is pretty fucking good now.
It is. And I thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, you're one of my very good, if not one of my best friends, because you recognize and appreciate that in me, as opposed to other people who have, find that out about me because it's not like it's not a billboard. I mean, I don't advertise my past.
And that's what I mean. It's like you don't, unless you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And a lot of people find out, oh shit, that was
right.
What you went through growing up. It's intimidating or whatever it is. So they don't, or they just can't connect with it. And so it's like one of those things where I think there's a disconnect there, and it's not like they're scared of me, or it's just that I think that they can't connect or touch, base with that from their perspective.
Sure.
And they can't relate to it. That's what.
Yeah. It's difficult to relate. Like, you got these super wealthy people that grew up with that. They're in their own world. Will Smith's kid, he's in his own
Karate Kid. Yeah.
How do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's one of those obstacles create character. And one of the things I noticed about you was as soon as I started kind of like breaking down some of where I had come from earlier in my life and stuff, and letting you see some of that stuff,
sure.
You were kind of like, oh shit, well, you're not just some, like regular old preppy dude or whatever I might have imagined you being. Right. You've got this depth and you've got this other stuff going on. I'm going to start telling you some of my shit. And
yeah, once I knew that you lived life, I was much more comfortable to tell you some shit. You know what I mean?
And then those conversations just unfolded.
Exactly.
And it was like, oh shit. So we both a couple dudes who like look completely different, but we see and we've interacted in the world so similarly that it's like we can fucking connect really deeply.
Yeah. It's interesting that the perspective of that, I'll teach a seminar. Every time I teach a tattoo seminar, people are like, if I had half of your talent, you know what I mean? And I'm always like, you don't know my life. You don't know where I came from. I used to always, a saying that I liked was I never had a dime, but I always had a vision. You know what I mean? And I think that really holds true to both of us. You know what I mean? It sounds to me like at a young age, you were like, someday I'm going to get up out of here. This isn't going to cycle through to my own kids or my own life. That's how I was. As soon as I was able to get up out, fucking like a rocket,
Yeah, you had that motivation. Yeah. And I mean, it's evident, man. And everything you do, you're goddamn intense.
Yeah.
And I love it because it inspires me to like, yeah, that's what it takes to be successful on this level, and this is what it takes to produce a podcast on top of doing Evergreen, on top of doing the Idaho
yeah,
show.
I literally don't have time for this, and I just have to that means get my workout in earlier. I have to.
Well, I loved it because I had just got home from my workout, and you're like, dude, are you fucking busy all the way up to it? And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not. It's perfect timing. The day's working great. Let's get in there and get this done a little bit earlier so we can have some time to talk, man.
Exactly.
Go over a little bit of a workout thing.
Exactly.
Talk about fucking life.
It's not going to be as natural as if we were just in here rushing. Like, I mean, it has to be. The whole idea of this is a conversation.
Yeah, and beyond that, it's like, man, you're my friend, so I want to touch base with you. This isn't just like we're not just podcast partners. I wanted to find out how Nikki's birthday went. I want to know what you were up to this fucking week. I would love to be doing the podcast twice a week, but it's just we're so fucking busy right now, and there's so much stuff that's involved in making a podcast and also in our day-to-day lives that it's like we're lucky to be able to do one a week.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's probably that much work, but honestly, it's kind of a lot of work.
Well, now that the video's coming through.
Speaking of video, we have a little apology for the last time. We definitely meant to film the last episode for YouTube, and I learned something new, that even though I have a super high-end camera, they stop filming at a certain amount of time, and it just didn't get everything, and I was going to put up a part of it, and I just thought, I don't know, it just seemed a little bit hacky to me.
It was only 29 minutes,
It did 29 minutes. I think it stops recording at 30 minutes.
The podcast was 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah. So
it's not even half.
It wasn't even getting into the warmed up good stuff. So I do apologize. We are attempting to film again.
This is the monkey that he talked about.
If you can see this
Nico
time.
Cray's monkey.
We've got a different camera that I've tested and seems to go beyond 30 minutes. So I do apologize, but we will actually put all of the episodes on YouTube, even if it's just the audio, and we'll just throw some photos and stuff for the background, just so you can throw it on YouTube and maybe fast forward a little bit easier than Anchor.
That's the main thing.
Still working on getting it on other platforms. It's just, this is all kind of new. You know what I mean?
And thank you for bearing with us through this, because I really like listening to this podcast. I've listened to it a couple times while I've been working out, just to try to make sure I don't talk about the same stuff. But it's been entertaining, man. Sure. I'm not like, I want to get through this or whatever, but if I do have to get out of the app or something, or if that, I shut the app down, then I can't fucking fast forward.
Yeah, and that's weird.
Through,
because I know with iTunes and most, you can do like a 15 seconds.
It is 15 seconds, but you have to, if it's 2 hours long.
Oh, you have to sit there.
Yeah, exactly. You can't drag it to whatever point you want. And I know that's a really nice feature in any fucking podcast.
It's weird that Anchor would do that. But keep on putting those applauses on there. Like on Anchor, there's
when you hear
thousands and thousands of those.
Claps in the background.
Yeah, at first I was like, what the fuck?
I know. I was like
crackling in the background.
What were we doing in the fucking podcast studio? I don't remember. Was I snapping no, that's just people apparently liking whatever's going on in that. So that's gonna be cool, because having it on YouTube and stuff, you won't have all that going on. We appreciate the claps. Keep fucking clapping, man.
And please keep telling everybody, for sure. We've gotten wonderful, wonderful feedback, and the contest is going fantastic. I had somebody write me just the other day who had lost a bunch of weight and kind of slipped off of it, and the podcast kind of reignited her to get back into shape. And I'm holding these people accountable. You have to send me photos of your current weight, and she was a little nervous about that, but she did it. She's ready to go, and it looks like right now we've got about 8 people competing, so it's going to be a cool one.
That's a legit challenge.
Yeah.
So is there? And there's 2 weeks left.
There's 2 weeks left.
2 weeks left. Yep. Cool.
You still got time, but it's going to be hard to beat people who've already been going. She's been going for almost a full month. You know what I mean?
And this is just the first one of these that you've done, and hopefully it later on down the road, because you're going to continue inspiring people. It's just because you drop the weight, when you start putting on muscle but slowly,
sure,
but when you actually start framing your body up and transforming it beyond just being skinny and stuff, and getting strong, and then if you ever go on hikes or runs and then post that stuff, people are going to go, holy shit. I remember watching him sitting down and maybe walking around Evergreen or something when I saw him in public. And now this guy's out training for fucking marathons and obstacle courses and stuff like that. That is the inspirational stuff. And then hopefully people will be like, okay, now I'm ready to get my ass in shape.
Yeah, because you're going to be ready when you are ready. Hopefully that's today. You know what I mean? And feel free to email me, text me, whatever. Literally, I'm down to help. I know what I know. I'm certainly not an expert. I know things that are working and I definitely learned some mistakes. Don't do some of the things, but reach out to me. You know what I mean? I've had a few people do it, and I love helping people. So I'm not asking for anything. I'm just happy to help.
That's part of why I love being at the gym, is because it's that interaction of like-minded people, similar goals. And, you're in that culture and you're in that environment where it's like, okay, I'm doing this because of this, and this is where I'm at, and these are my goals, and I've got this is why I do these stretches and stuff. And I mean, countless times I've had great conversations with people just about, okay, why are you stretching your calves like that? What's up with that hamstring stretch? What's up with the Achilles stretch?
Yeah.
What's up with, this arm stretch? Why are you hanging from the pull-up bar like that? Why you do, and there's that stuff, the interaction, it really keeps you kind of focused on that stuff, talking about it. That's why you and me end up talking about it. You talk about it with your clients and everybody else, is because you really want it in your world. You want it at the forefront of what's going on, because it helps you stay conscious of, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Once it becomes your reality, like it's just completely different. My world is completely different than it was 3 months ago. It really is. I'm really lucky, being that Sean is so timely, he comes in a little bit early and starts training me with new ideas and stuff as I'm getting ready for them. And today he brought me a medicine ball, which is amazing of you, man. Thank you so much. I got 2 gifts today, and it's his birthday tomorrow. So,
well, this is a gift to me. It was really nice and meaningful. You thanked me in the last podcast and actually shook my hand at the end of it, which we don't have on video. But it really hit my heart, because you said, thanks for being a part of this, man. And thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Of course, man.
This is like almost a dream come true, because everybody knows I can talk.
Even if we had 5 listeners, I'd still do it. It's fucking just
exactly.
fun, right?
I like listening to our conversations, and that was where we said that from the start. And it's funny because we're like, man, could you imagine if we had recorded this conversation? Well, we are doing that now.
It's funny how many times we said that.
Yeah, and it's good. At least you and I think it's good, and that's all that fucking matters.
So like I said, I was a little over 3,000 listeners. I want some of you people to send us some messages. I've not received any on the audio messages yet, but if you go to Anchor, free app, as soon as you listen to the podcast, that's really easy. It's like right at the top, right? You just send them a message.
It says like send voice message.
Send us some voice messages. I would love to include some questions or dumb shit, whatever.
And let me give a just straight up forewarning or whatever, all waivers. I'm not a medical professional.
It's exactly the same.
So don't ask me for straight up medical advice. All I can let you know is, what I do know and what I do for myself and the stuff I've researched.
Yeah.
So always do research yourself. I mean, if I have advice, I just want to let people know that stuff, so you're forewarned. I'm not trying to claim that I am a doctor. I do have doctors in my family,
right,
and I know a lot of highly educated people in the health profession and in the physical fitness profession. But I'm not trying to say that I know everything and that you need to listen to me.
Yeah.
But I am super curious about finding stuff out, and I do know quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're like me. We research the shit out of stuff. So, and I'm glad you said that too, because obviously we're talking about things like fasting and some fringe science type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And conspiracy shit.
And we just love talking about that. We want the idea to be like, you're here with us hanging out, talking about this, but I would never tell you, I came off of, I did a 50-hour fast the other day.
That was extreme.
I'm not going to tell you to do it. Yeah, I did. Well, I did a 48 when we first started.
I
did a 51 before Nikki's birthday, but works for me. But I would never tell you. I recommend it. I do recommend you research it.
Yeah.
I recommend you look into the benefits of fasting.
Yeah.
But I'm a tattoo artist. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So. And I hope I didn't interrupt you, but speaking of fringe science, I've been listening a lot to Dr. Rhonda Patrick, which isn't really fringe, but she's a pretty amazing woman,
she's
actually.
So awesome.
But please look her up as well. But she's been talking a lot about cryotherapy, and that's something that sounds pretty fucking fascinating to me, and it's something you can do really easily. And for those of you who don't know, that there's potentially massive benefits from being really, really cold for short bursts of time, and it's similar to basically anything. Like the reason that, if you were to exercise for 24 hours a day, it's terrible for you. But little bursts of exercise is what does it. So I think you could compare it to diseases. You know what I mean? You've got this medication for disease, and that disease will eventually outgrow the medication, right? Because it's exposed to it. It'll adapt to it, exactly. So, just like little burst of 10-minute high cardio, that's why high intensity training works. You're adapting to it. You can go into these. I mean, you can do it in like in a cold pool too, but I guess there's actual places you can go and get in some sort of I'm not sure if it's like a chamber or a pod, but
so I think the new one's like what Rogan's been doing, because I know he picked up a lot of that science from Dr. Rhonda Patrick being on his show and in him loving her knowledge and everything too. I saw a picture of him on Instagram that he had posted of him in like the suit, the cryo suit, and having a mask on or whatever, because it's so cold you can't expose it.
I've heard like 250 minus.
Yeah, and it's like 2 or 3 minutes. So, but what that does is it shocks your system. So it sends what you're saying is you're trying to stress your system out real quick. Your immune system, your endocrine system, whatever. It might be a combination of both, but it's definitely kind of your immune system and your circulatory system. You're triggering your circulatory system to start sending blood flow to the outside of your body, because the outside of your body is what senses that cold immediately, and then your most external layers of muscle are being bombarded by that cold. So your body's going, shit, we got to send a bunch of warm blood out there. Otherwise this is going to freeze.
Yeah.
So you do it to that point. Exactly. Before that cold ass blood starts circulating back to your heart to a dangerous level where it would chill your core down. You're basically enacting certain chemicals in your body to go, oh shit, this is so extreme. We got to push out that super chemical and create this reaction. And I don't know the science behind it. I just know that seems to be a lot of efficacy behind it. And what I do a fucking poor man's ghetto version of that. And I have for years. Yeah. And where after, the guys, really good athletes, professional athletes and other serious athletes will take ice baths and certain things.
I know Michael Phelps does it.
Yeah. After a workout, especially, it will lock in kind of your muscle memory. Mm-hmm. It's a really good way to get your muscles to basically sink in and adapt to that workout and that routine and that knowledge that you just put into them. So you're basically locking in that workout, because a lot of people know you can do a workout and stuff. You go home, your body kind of tries to settle back into the state it was in before. Well, when you do that, cryotherapy, you send a lot of cold blood through your circulatory system. It really does kind of settle your muscles into whatever state you have them in when you get into that cold environment. So if you have a really good workout, that's a solid way to lock that in and then get some fresh blood circulating through your system for a quicker recovery. That's why you do it, is for the recovery.
Okay.
So that's why, it's not just to see how manly you are, see how long you can go without freezing your dick off or any of that stuff. Yeah. It's about recovering as quick as possible so you can get another quality workout in sooner.
That's awesome.
So what I do at home, or I used to do at the gym, but now I do it at home, especially on days I do squats, is I will take my shower, soap up, get all my stuff done. And then when I'm done showering per se, I stay in the shower and I kick it to cold. And I start doing my breath work. The main thing is you really have to just, focus on breathing, taking nice deep breaths, because you don't want to.
Because even that water is so.
It's pretty
I've
chill.
fucked around with it before any of this, just to see it.
Yeah, like how tough am I? How cold is this shit? Yeah. How am I going to freak the fuck out? Yeah. So that's why it's just getting a temperature variation. So from going hot to cold, you do get a more mild like version of that same reaction. But I got hip to this for a decade ago by some badass dudes who knew what they were talking about, and it worked for me when I was doing the stuff back then, and I've been reincorporating it. My gains have been epic, and my recovery's really, really good. So I go cold for a minute, and I'll even put my iPhone up, put the timer on, so I'm not having to count in my head, because back in the day I used to have to count in my head, and I was like 1,000
too cold, even
60, and it almost helped, but at the same time I just want to breathe, listen to I'm doing Audible book while I'm doing it, so I'm listening to shit, and that's how it kind of helps distract myself. So I go from cold for a minute and I flip it to fucking as hot as I can handle. Seriously. Yeah. And it's all on my back and on my ass. You could do it on any muscle. You could do it on your whole back.
What I'd be worried about on the hot is, because you're so cold, you might be burning yourself even, but you don't quite know it yet.
Yeah, you don't have, you just do it for like 45 seconds to 60 seconds, and then you flip it to cold. So you're usually my cheeks are so cold. Right. That they need to be warmed back up.
It's quicker. Yeah.
It's quicker. Yeah. So I don't even feel it. They're numb. So I don't feel that hot. So maybe there's a little roast. I'm not going as hot as the water will go. I'm going as hot as I can really handle it. If I feel like I'm burning, I'd back that shit off. And then I go cold again, hot, and then cold. And that's how I finish it. Okay. So I do 3 sessions of cold, and then I dip out. And I tell you what, that blood flowing through my butt and my legs and my back, I just feel so much more crisp. And
according to Dr. Rhonda Patrick, you feel euphoric. Like it's really like doing. It's the same things that release from exercise. It's the same thing. And they even did tests that shows that heat can do the same thing. The hot cold is the smartest thing. It seems like, they got places. You've heard of the Polar Bear Club.
Yeah.
They've got gyms in like Russia, where I think it's Russia, where they'll have like hot and cold. It's very, very
smash a workout, or you're in the sauna and then you get your naked ass up and you bolt out.
The sauna's so good anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I used to do that too, all at the gym, man. I dig the that kind of whole scene when it's appropriate. But I wasn't living in the same town as where my gym was back when I was doing that. So now I'm only 10 minutes away from my gym. I just go home and I do that.
Yeah.
I can get my bathroom as steamy as I want. It's really small, my master bath. So if I want to do that, but basically it's just the temperature, that hot, cold water, man, it really is effective. So that's a good way to just, if you're like, I don't have the money or whatever for this cryo stuff, that is the poor man's way to get.
Yeah. I mean, that's something you can do today.
And you can warm that up.
Because I've been planning on doing the bathtub. I was going to fill the tub. I watched some studies on fill the tub with cold water. Keep your swim shorts on, get in there, and then have someone put about 4 bags of ice in it.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? So I thought, but I think I might ease into it your way instead, because the hot, cold together.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not, training for the Olympic trials.
Exactly.
So you're not an athlete.
Right.
Like that old Louis C.K. joke. So, what do I do? Well, his doctor tells him, well, your back's hurting, your foot's fucked up. You're just going to have to start stretching 30 minutes a day. Okay. How long do I got to do that? No, that's just what you do now.
Every day, 30 minutes a day.
You're old. You're falling apart.
Right.
You want to be able to walk? So that's what you, fuck. He goes, well, what about, isn't there like surgery? What about, I heard a certain athlete. Yeah. You're not an athlete.
No, that's wise. That's some good wisdom, actually.
So, and test yourself out. That cold water thing was fucking scary at first when I first did it. And then you just started been working on your breath work. And the one thing you really don't want to do is hyperventilate.
Yeah.
So if it's too cold for you and you find yourself holding your breath, then don't do it.
Yeah, Dr. Rhonda Patrick said that. So she did the cryotherapy, the actual machine, for 2 days in a row. The first day, she said that her teeth chattered so hard it was uncontrollable, and then the next day didn't even shiver. It was already kind of, you know what I mean?
One of those mental things.
Yeah, 250 minus. Holy shit.
That's like not even. I can't even fathom.
And hers was where her head was under. I guess there's some where your head's above your whole body.
I know she's short, right?
Right.
My torso would be up out there.
What's up, guys? I'm cold.
I know, right?
Yeah. Half of me's cold.
I just got like a heating fucking loincloth over my junk, but all the rest of it's. That would be the way to go. Honestly, I'm just afraid of my balls freezing off.
Right. You're like, oh shit, that was an unforeseen circumstance.
Yeah, lawsuit. So, and even when I'm like standing in the shower, when that hot water comes onto my back, I'll fucking tuck my sack up into my hand so it doesn't get sizzled by that hot water.
Yeah, I gotta be careful with that shit.
You too, man. And that's, it might be a little too personal or whatever, but fuck, this is the legitimate side of stuff. So when you go, fuck my balls, it's pull that sack up, son.
I was wondering about all those people like on that show Jackass and stuff. They're always like just getting kicked in the balls and stuff. I'm like, I guess you just never want to have kids, or maybe,
dude,
I don't know.
All the nut play.
I remember when I was in middle school talking to my friends about like, girls just don't understand what it's like to get kicked in the balls, how horrible it is. And like literally right when I said that, this fucking dumb bitch just kicked me square in the fucking nuts. Like I was like 11. And it was that thing where I was like, oh, that didn't hurt at all. Oh my God. It's just,
it doesn't hurt for like 3 seconds, but there's a delay.
Oh man.
Like the longest delay between your nerves from your brain from a certain nerve receptor in your body for men is the testicles. Oh. For some reason, it doesn't make sense. Because
she thought it was hilarious.
The most important thing to know when your nuts are being fucked with.
I hope she's in prison right now.
I hope so too.
Right.
So there was another thing I want to clarify. From the very first podcast, I said that Childish Gambino was Danny Glover's son. He's not.
See, I had always heard that as well.
He's not. He's not. I did look it up before I made that claim. But I didn't look it up close enough. I looked up Donald Glover and then Danny Glover popped up and I saw them side by side and I was like, oh yeah, and I thought that for whatever reason, my monkey brain went, that's his son. Yeah. And I was like, right on. That's what I thought. Nope. So Donald Glover, you're a fucking beast, man. You are a bad minx. Your artistic vision and And, you know, Scape is just amazing. I mean, from the acting, the producing, the rapping, just the music stuff.
It's just that same thing I mentioned the first time you brought him up. Anybody who's going to go that hard and be that good, you know what I mean? Like I've never been a fan of anybody who's like cocky. Not saying that he's cocky. I don't know him at all. But I always say, if you're that good and you can back it up, then you can be cocky. You know
he is a bad motherfucker. Like he just does even if his dad was in Lethal Weapon.
Now I'm even more interested in his story. You know what I mean?
Isn't that weird? Yeah. It's like, okay, he wasn't this entitled cat who grew up in fucking Beverly Hills or something. Yeah. It was like whatever. I mean, it looked like his parents, he grew up in Atlanta or in Georgia and had military family upbringing is what I read. His parents were in the military, or at least his dad. And so he must have had some discipline, you know, some good structure. I'm not, or maybe not. Who fucking knows?
When I first discovered him, it was comedy. He was a comedian who was great, and this was years ago. And then I think the music, and then the acting. That
Atlanta show, you know, for FX, he
fantastic.
Dude, that's amazing. Yeah. So, and then my out of the ATL and going along with my Tattoo Tomorrow from Sean King. I'm finally getting the OutKast crown.
Finally.
And because
if anybody needs that tattoo, it's you.
You know, I love OutKast. That's my favorite hip hop rap group of all time. Andre 3000 is my favorite rapper, entertainer. That guy is such a genius, and he's also a Gemini.
Oh, really?
He is a Gemini, and you can almost sense. I mean, you know, maybe that's why, but I mean, it's just his style. His flavor is so eclectic. He's so funky yet brilliant. The guy is a genius, and he's multifaceted. Yeah. Andre Benjamin, I mean, the guy's been in some of my favorite movies. Yeah. He's in that movie Revolver. He's in fucking Four Brothers. The guy's just a beast. But his rap style, his flows, his freestyles, every single thing he does, it puts me in awe. Yeah. I'm like, this guy.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I mean. When you're just like, what the fuck?
I mean, when you were doing the monkey thing, and then Andre came on and he spit some shit, and I was like, I haven't even really heard this yet. And then he, you know, I was like catching a couple of his bars, and I spit it back at you, and you're just like, that's fucking brilliant.
Right.
Like,
that's the thing. It's like, so like, how did you even fucking come up with that?
And in the delivery, it's not just your
the
normal
timing, the delivery.
It's he does it so unique.
I don't even care if you don't like rap. You can't not appreciate it,
man. You know, and that's how I feel about him. He's inspired me for over 2 decades, and just helped me kind of find my own little Zen spot, and then helped expand certain thought processes and my consciousness, you know, as it needed from time. And man, there's so much wisdom and knowledge and truth in his lyrics, in his art. Yeah. So I'm getting that OutKast crown.
So you would be the man that would know the answer to this then, and I could be wrong. I feel like they came out really heavy. They were huge. I remember, was it Speaker Box and The Love Below?
Their first album was in 1994.
Well, no. I mean, wasn't that what? Didn't they put out the Speaker?
They made Speaker Box,
and then they just retire.
No, so
see, I had heard that they were like, I'm out.
Yeah, he just,
or Andre at least.
Andre just, like, this last year, I heard, stopped recording with OutKast. He still does collaborations.
Gotcha. Okay.
I hear him on a ton of different other artists' songs and things featured. Like, he works with Killer Mike a lot.
Right.
Killer Mike, I mean, that's another bad motherfucker. Yeah. Killer Mike's solo shit up there. I mean, he's probably my favorite up and coming rapper. I mean, not up and coming because he's been around for a decade and a half, and he's a beast. But he's one of those cats that's like hit his stride. He's at the apex of his artistic prowess right now. And he did a song that's one of the songs for South Park in this last season.
Oh yeah.
They got me locked up in here. That fucking Hummels and Heroin episode with the old people and their pills and shit.
Right.
Oh my God, man. When he spit, I was like, that's Killer Mike. Killer Mike in South Park.
You just knew right away.
My favorite. Oh, it was like I had
my two favorite
goosebumps.
Things. Imagine if you were watching that and eating that pie.
So yeah, I would literally have jismed right then. And that kid died. That would have been perfect, honestly. I was so happy. I hit my brother up. I was like, Killer Mike on the new South Park tonight. He was like, cool, awesome. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. I was like, motherfucker.
So those that are listening, Sean obviously has a bunch of tattoos, and he actually has a pretty sweet South Park tattoo.
I do.
That Sean King did on him. Why don't you describe it?
So one of my best friends and I we're talking about, my best friend, Austin, we both want to have matching tattoos for the last 5 years or something. And we always try to come up with cool concepts and like, okay, what would be the best? And we never were able to settle on an idea, man. I mean, matching tattoos kind of a gay thing anyways.
Sure. Like if it just said, remember to breathe.
Yeah.
I hope you dance. Please get that.
That's what I'm saying, man. It had to be something super righteous if it was going to be anything at all. And then finally, me and him both love South Park. Always have since the fucking day one. I mean, I've got Chef Doll from 1997 that he had for a decade. I just let him because I thought I might be dead. And so I kind of gave him some of my shit to hold on to. And I'm still alive, so I got it back. So we both fucking have this passion. And our favorite character that's emerged in the last 5, maybe 6 seasons is that Randy Marsh. The guy's the funniest motherfucker.
I think that was the pivotal move when it became about him. Right?
Well, when I think he became the catalyst for so many of their antics.
Yeah.
They were able to use him in a way where they're like, all right, we're going to, instead of it being with the kids, because, you know, those kids have been in 4th grade for 24 years. Yeah. So Randy, as I was 10 years old when South Park came out, I'm going to be 33 tomorrow. I grew up watching this shit. Well, now I'm an adult. And so I can empathize, I can connect with Randy and his antics so much more than I can with these fucking witty ass, snippety, fuck-faced, you know, 10-year-old or 9-year-old fucking 4th graders that are, you know, way mature beyond their shit. But I love Randy because Randy's the adult big kid. And remember he did that. They made this whole season where he was actually that artist Lord.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, and they showed how like auto-tunes.
I am Lord.
And Hollywood can totally just create and manifest whatever type of new pop idol they want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an equation.
He just made it on an iPad.
How badass is that Lord chick to have went along with it, made the songs for them, was like, oh, you're going to have me in a season of South Park? Fucking my dream. Honored 100%. We're doing this. So Randy's like emerged into this epic character. In fact, he's my favorite cartoon character of all time at this point.
Nice.
So me and Austin always, you know, did you see Randy fucking last night? Oh my God, dude. Oh, fuck, dude. When you think he can't get any more wild or crazy or funnier, they go and they make him a fucking teenage, you know, hip hop icon or whatever. That's actually a chick that's having a transgender issue or whatever. It's so I remembered thinking I loved him when that episode came out, Medical Fried Chicken. And it was about cannabis and legal or medical weed.
Right.
And the state of Colorado had just set up laws in real life about fast food because of the unhealthy part of it. And they were like zoning certain fast food franchises out of areas to try to create, you know, a better sense of health and wellness.
Right.
So they incorporated that into the whole episode theme with Randy, who wants to go get some KFC for the family or whatever, and he gets to the store and it turns out to be a weed store and his mind is blown. And he just goes in there and he's like, oh shit, I want some Maui Wowie.
Right.
I want some Acapulco Gold. And the dude's like, oh sweet man, cool man, well, I just need to see your medical card. And he's like, what do you mean? What card? What? He's like, yeah, you know, you can buy any of this cannabis. You have to have a card though. And he's like, well, how the fuck do I get one of those, man? And, you know, and he goes to the doctor. Doctor says, well, I can get you one of those, but you have to qualify and blah, blah. So long story short, he's so dedicated to getting his medical card that he gives himself cancer.
This is the ball cancer one?
Yeah. He ends up trying a whole different variation of forms of cancer. But none of them, he isn't able to contract cancer, not nearly fast enough. So he goes to the doctor and says, whoa, do I have any cancer? And the guy goes, nope, you're still healthy. He's like, fuck. Well, what's the fastest form of cancer? He goes, well, testicular cancer can be very aggressive. Okay. So he goes home, he pops the balls in the motherfucking microwave. Literally nukes his own nuts to be able to get that medical card because he needs some Mary Jane in his life. And when I saw that shit and he's standing there on his tippy toes with his balls in the microwave and his son Stan comes up behind him. He goes, Dad, what you doing? He goes, oh, just trying to get a little bit of cancer, Stan. My heart damn near exploded with laughter. And then it gets better and better. But after that point, I was like, Randy, you're a god. I'm sold. South Park, you're genius. Fucking done. Right. And so, you know, this last year, me and my bro were like, Randy's he's the best character of all time. South Park's the best cartoon, maybe show of all time. Randy's, we could both get Randy tattoos, and then we were just like, yes, we're both getting Randy tattoos.
He was down right away to do it.
Totally.
Nice.
I mean, he's been the one kind of trying to push the matching tattoo thing with me for a while. And I was like, well, it has to be badass. And I want a Randy tattoo anyways.
Right.
And so he was like, well, fuck, bro, I want a Randy tattoo. And I was like, that's our matching tattoo. But we didn't get the same image. That was the other stipulation. I was like, let's both get our favorite fucking Randy Marsh image. So I got Randy Marsh with his nuts super swole. So swole, he has to tote him in a wheelbarrow.
Yep.
So, and he's leaning up against a pole smoking a joint, because that's all that matters in life, man. My nuts might be massively fucking, swollen with cancer and shit, but as long as I got some cannabis in my life, it's going to be okay. And I had Sean King throw it on my thigh. So that way, it's not like super untasteful or anything. And
did your bro get the same exact tattoo?
No, he got an image from the Broadway Bro Down episode where Randy Marsh is squaring off with Steven Sondheim.
Yeah.
And he's fucking, it's literally this image. His arms are up and he's all, "What's up, bro?" And for anybody who knows me and they know my homies, we say bro a lot.
Right.
And so that bro down shit was one of the best episodes too.
It's perfect
for so many reasons. So he has that on his bicep. So when and that asshole, all right, he was so funny because he was telling me how he was preparing for getting that tattoo. He had started doing curls and shit.
Oh,
the
shit,
same thing.
Ready.
He didn't want to have it be small and then blow up his guns. He was like, bro, I want to get
a training montage going on.
Exactly. So he did, but then he fucking he stressed his biceps so bad from doing too many curls that he couldn't even lift his arms for like a day and shit. And so he called me up and he was like, bro, I can't even lift my arms, man. What? How'd that happen? And then, he was super embarrassed, but he ended up telling me, and I just told all you. So now you know what's up with that. Yeah. Austin, I love you. Thanks for helping the podcast be that much fucking better.
Speaking of cannabis, you probably know some of this. So when Colorado, because I think they were the first to be legal, right? Like straight up legal.
Yep.
Constantly hearing about all this money, millions of dollars going in to help schools with city, whatever. Mm-hmm. What is Oregon doing? Do you know what's going on? I'm not hearing a lot. I know that there's a lot of money coming in, obviously, but do you know where it's being allocated?
I don't get to allocate or dispense with any of that stuff.
And you don't
same
know.
Thing with the lottery. They say a certain percentage is supposed to go to fund schools,
right,
and to public service programs.
I feel like a lot of schools are closing.
I fucking
instead.
doubt. Yeah, exactly. So. And my mom is she's been in the public education field for damn near 30 years. Yeah, 30 years. And they don't get enough money.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of most public schools. So for me, but we do need to educate our kids and educating children and young adults to become good, healthy members of society and strong, healthy adults is the most important thing in the world. Because our kids are the next generation.
Right.
So if shit's falling apart, I mean, what do they have? What type of infrastructure are they going to have? Well, the infrastructure that was there for me 25 years ago growing up was shit.
Yeah.
It failed me big time, but and I don't think it's better. So I really feel for the kids nowadays. And when we talk about, getting your GED or recognizing when you're just kind of like out of the school thing.
Yeah. I think sometimes about the benefits of homeschooling and stuff like that, because definitely today's educational system in America it's a fucking failure for sure. You know what I mean?
And I think
there's obviously some wonderful teachers out there.
Yes,
there
are.
It's just the way that the system is set up. It's not currently working.
It's not, man. I mean? It's not. And
yeah.
I totally advocate for homeschooling, but how many people can actually do that?
See, that's the whole thing. It's like, what are you teaching them? Like, it's tough.
And how do you have the time?
No,
most adults don't have the time if they have kids to homeschool their own kids. That's why they send them to fucking school / daycare.
And it's easy to sit here. It's easy to sit here. Let's say we were having a conversation just tattooing. It's very easy for someone to have an opinion. Oh, homeschooling is better or this is better. But it's really easy to just say, the government should do this. But when can you give me a real solid answer with a backup of why it works, how it's going to happen? I try really hard to do that when I'm having conversations to I can spout out like, it'd be real cool if the president did this, but it doesn't always work that way. It's not that cut and dry.
Oh, it's definitely not. There's so many other things.
Yeah.
Set
Things
up.
that I don't know or understand completely. You know what I mean? So like I do try to do that. I definitely know a lot of people who are so opinionated, but it's like, and they're like, they should do this, but it's just not that easy.
Well, there's a lot of bureaucracy
Exactly.
set up, and there's a lot of chaff that could be weeded out, which needs to happen at some point. And there could be a lot more effective curriculum programs. I don't even like the stuff that they teach. I don't like the history shit that they teach.
Right.
In fact, but I love history. But
especially if they're teaching the wrong history.
And I think that goes. That's a huge part of the Matrix. One of the Matrix mechanisms is the brainwashing, fucking programs and mechanisms in place to fucking rewire our brains from the start. Just like Louis C.K.'s 2017 stand-up special called 2017. That's so heavy. Right. That concept. Why is it 2007? Because it's the year of our Lord Jesus Christ. 2000. What? Who's Lord? The fucking Christians, because they won. They won.
Gotcha.
And anytime you see a Christian out in society, congratulate them because they won. That's why he tells his kids, and that's why he breaks it down. Well, why is it because that's when that regime decided to start the timeline and go, guess what, humans? If you don't agree with us, we're going to kill you.
Right.
If your brain isn't soft enough or programmable enough to accept this information and then fucking, recite it, we gonna kill you.
Right.
And anybody that was within their reach, that's what they did. That's why Christianity dominates the earth. Yeah. And that's, that is a really brutal truth, but it's the truth. And that goes along with religions, sun cults and all these other, that's how you conquer and then you educate and then that becomes truth. Well, I think I could try to understand things beyond 2017 years ago. But if we do that, then we have to start counting backwards.
Sure.
Everything goes backwards from fucking 2017. Yeah. All that shit, all those billions of years. You mean we have to put a negative behind in front of what? So that's just one of the ways that education and society and everything that you're born into in this world wires you from the start. It's 2000. What? It's 2000. Why is it 2000? Well, because this being that was the son of the great being did this at this certain time. And okay. So that's a template for everything that's going to be based on after that. That's a foundation for what you need to know. Well, if that's not even true, or if there's other stuff that goes on into that,
right.
Mushroom cults, fertility cults, the origins of Christianity and Judeo-Christian background stuff. Look into the Dead Sea Scrolls. Look into the origins of Christianity. Look into all that stuff, and look into the similarities that are found in other religions and cultures across the globe.
I find it interesting that if you go back and look at most religions, the story is so similar. Like if you were to, whatever's going on with the Bible, like, Jesus Christ, Son of God and all that stuff, just other names for it, but it's kind of the same. Unless you're going back to the sun god and all that stuff, like where there's many gods, you know what I mean? But it's so interesting how it's kind of the same story, whatever fits for them, When
we were talking about symbolism and how we're rewired, another way that people don't even understand or know and aren't usually conscious of, unless somebody breaks it down to them and goes, just listen to what you're saying. The day Sunday, the first day on the calendar,
right.
The Sunday. Well, the original and main and dominant religions for the longest time in human history were sun cults. That thing up there that actually does give light, that actually does give energy, that is very, very, very important and crucial to life.
Right.
On Earth.
100%.
And so there is definitely an evident power there that is sharing its power with us. The sun is a very strong being, and powerful entity that people use to control and set up social control mechanisms and create power structures.
Right.
So that's one thing that we still carry through to today, the day of the Lord. Sunday. It's straight up, and we didn't even change the spelling. It's right. S-U-N day.
Right, exactly.
It's the God day. And then with Jesus,
I wonder,
the son of God.
I wonder if we're still here in 1,000 years. I wonder if it will ever evolve. You know what I mean? I wonder what it's going to evolve into. It's been so long. It's interesting.
Christianity 3.0, baby.
Right.
Maybe there'll be like 2 fucking crossbars on the cross or something. Right. Or it'll be an H. And we'll have 2 posts together because there'll be 2 Jesus. But that's,
Gemini Jesus?
To look to the future, brother, you just got to look to the past.
Absolutely.
And that's with the Bhagavad Gita and all these other similarities in different religions that have been documented for tens of thousands of years, at least thousands of years. And you can see that stuff. So it's coming back around again.
Yeah. I see a lot of angry atheists. Usually it's somebody who's grown up with hardcore religion. Mm-hmm. And then when they kind of do their own, whatever works for them, their own thing, they're angry. They feel like they've been lied to. And
they have been lied to.
You know what I mean?
And there is an anger there. And there's a frustration and there's a rebelliousness because you feel like there's a lack of truth.
Right.
And that's what it is.
What I see a lot of that irritates me is, something tragic has happened. Not really my daughter, but someone will say my daughter's been sick and she's in the hospital, and people will just send prayers. You know what I mean? It's like one like equals one prayer. And it's like, that's not doing anything for anybody. Positive thought. And I understand that could be, we're sending positive thoughts. You are in our thoughts. That's a nice thing to say. And if that's just another way of saying that, I do get it. But just saying prayers isn't really doing anything for anybody.
It's not what, and when in those instances, it's nice to, at least if you take the time to write out, I hope you get well.
Yeah.
You've at least manifested that in your text and you thought it out.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, I hope you get well, but I really don't. You did send that out into the world. And you're not going to write that if you don't feel that way. Right. You're going to put a thumb up and be like, yeah, bitch, get well.
I like to do things like, if one of my bandmates or whatever, has something going on at home, I like to not just say it to sound good, but really mean it. Like, hey, you sound like you're really busy with this. Do you need me to come walk your dogs? Is there anything I can do? Because I know everybody's going to say that, but I do try to do that. Like little things you might not think of, like, you know what I mean? Hey, do you need me to go drop something off? Oh, you're sick. Do you need me to bring you some chicken soup?
Hell yeah.
Like there are things you can do besides just like hitting a like, and like, you know what I mean?
Well,
I know we live in that social media world, but
so a good example of that is, you're posting your videos of your fucking badass bod as it's slimming down and you're getting stronger and you look so much fucking bad. You look great. So you look
I'm trying.
No, you're not trying. You're doing.
I am.
There is no try, as one of my first probation officers told me back in the day. Sean, there is no try. You need to eliminate that word from your vocabulary. There is either do or do not.
See, and I love that. I believe in that.
Little did I know. Yeah, I had to rewire my whole shit because I tried and I failed all growing up.
Yeah.
So I had to start doing, and that completely flipped my approach towards everything in life after that point. And I didn't know he was robbing that from
Yoda.
From Yoda.
Yeah.
So good move, Don Tom 4. Way to steal that truth. I love it and spread it onto me. So, but I love all of the stuff that you post. But I went to the gym today. I did squats, and then right when I walked in, my dude Rich was at the front counter. Hey, Sean, what's up? Hey, Rich. And then I almost walked through and I went, hey, I'm gonna turn around. And I asked him for some free passes for you. I told him straight up, I got one of my best friends. He's been getting in shape. He had a diabetic scare. His daughter's going to be going to South, which is right across the street next year. They love the South part of town.
Right. I'm
trying to get him motivated and in this gym atmosphere. And I want to have some access for him. So I was going to pay. I was going to pay your way in.
No, I didn't do that.
Oh, I was gonna, because I'm going to do everything I can to get you there and make sure you're comfortable until you get acclimated to it, and then you are comfortable.
Right.
But he gave me several free passes for you.
Nice.
And I was like, because he was like, yeah, I can get those. And I was like, cool. Can we do that now?
Right.
Because I'd love to give those to him now. Right. He was like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And he wrote them out and everything. So yeah, I got several free passes, and then, when you're done with those, I'll get you some more, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
But
it's definitely something that I do want to do. I guess for whatever reason, I'm just currently going at my own pace. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not wanting to do it.
With that, I'm just trying to be supportive of what you got going on, because at some point, I'm going to say, hey man, is it a good day to meet up at the gym for an hour or whatever?
Right.
Just to go walk around in there and show you the layout of stuff, show you their sauna, show you their fucking where you can do your hanging from and stuff.
Yeah. There's obviously
show you their
more.
AMT machine, the one that I like a lot. Show you their yoga fucking studio where you can just go in and stretch whenever you want. It's a nice quiet. I mean, do that stuff. And have it ready. Just like you have the fucking podcast ready for me when I come in here. I'm like doing the same thing for you. I'm thinking of how I can help get you prepared to be more successful in the future because at some point, hopefully you'll be there.
Yeah. And I think that's a great example of what we're talking about. Like, not to get all touchy about friends and stuff, but like it kind of goes back. I'm in a band, you know what I mean? And people will always kind of say, you know, hey, can you get me in? And I'm always like, man, if there's anybody you should support, it's your friends. Yeah. If you go see your band's friend, buy a ticket.
Buy a fucking ticket, man.
Like be a real friend.
Yeah, you know that's
saying?
What's
like,
up.
That's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, don't go out of, don't hurt yourself to do something for somebody else. But like just little things like that. That's how I know when a friend is real. Like, you know, I went through a phase when I first wrote my book. I had a lot of money. I know I've mentioned this, but I quickly found out who my real friends were when the money dried up a little bit. Once the book sales had slowed, and I had this entourage that's got smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. Sean King never left my side. You know, one of the best friends I've ever had in my life, which is why he's here with me now. It lives here all the way from Indiana. Everybody else just slowly faded away. You only get a few real friends in life. Real friends. Treat them well, treat them right, and they'll be there forever. You know?
And if you treat other people with that same respect, I'm blessed to have more friends than I could even, than I can even count, really.
Right.
And I had to be really picky about because I didn't for a long time. And I had false friends, and I had people that talked shit about me behind my back. Yeah. And then I had other friends that I loved that just made other life choices that weren't lining up with what I had going on and stuff. Yeah. Dude, I was best man in his wedding. And another guy I was a groomsman in his wedding and stuff. And two guys I haven't talked to the dude I was groomsman in his wedding for like 5 years. And I hadn't even seen my best friend dude that I was best man for over 3 years until this last week. Because they were just making choices I didn't like.
Yeah, mostly that's smart of you, though. You know what I mean? Like
I've had that separation, and they knew it. There was no burned bridges. They never said, "Hey, fuck you," blah blah blah. They know and they respect my path and my life choices, and they know that I'll always love them. Yeah. First off, and that's one of the things I tell all of my really close friends and family. Like, I love you, at least periodically, because I've lost so many of them. And we've all experienced that in my circle. We've been to so many countless funerals, and we all know that today could be our last day.
Right.
So I'm going to let you know while I'm connected with you, while I'm present with you, I love you, man. You're awesome. I cherish you. That's important for me because I never know when I'm going to be able to say that anymore, and I never want to regret it.
And we've both been through. I've lost several people in this last year. You know, and it's funny that you bring that up too, because it's a weird male thing. Like, you know, females can do that.
An ego thing?
It's an ego thing for sure. Here's a good example of where I don't really give a fuck about that. Sean King has been motivated to get into shape as well. Yeah. And, you know, he wrote me and he's like, man, didn't you have an extra bike? And somebody had given me a really nice over $1,000 bike years ago that is sat in my garage because I wasn't motivated. And I was actually going to put it on Craigslist. You know what I mean? And I was like, I do have a bike, and you know, even my wife was like, "Weren't we going to sell that?" And I'm like, you know what? If my best friend wants to get healthy, fuck the money.
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's family.
I had it to get, exactly. We mentioned this earlier. Sean King is family for 100%, and I didn't care about the money. And Sean is, because he's family. As he was taking the bike, said, "If you ever need to sell this, please," you know what I mean? And that's the reason that I have zero problem giving it to him, because he has that same thought. But now Sean's riding his bike to the fucking shop, and so nothing stresses Sean out more than fucking traffic.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he really fucking has it. And so traffic, parking, and he's like, I fucking can ride my bike. I feel amazing. And I'm like, he's like, I feel like a little kid. And I know, I'm like so fucking proud. So speaking of the whole ego thing, I wrote him. I just texted him and I said, look, man, I'm gonna get real cheesy on you. I fucking am so proud of you. I love the fact that you're riding your bike, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And it's just nice, like you said, it's an ego thing. You know what I mean? Like, even people would be like that. Remember that whole no homo thing when people be like, I love you, bro, no homo. And it's like, It's fucking. You don't have to fucking say that.
Just
fucking be fucking.
Why do you have to be? The only thing that goes along with that, the male ego thing and stuff, this saying that I love you, is the fear of being vulnerable and somebody judging you.
Yeah.
About that, I don't get any judgment. That's why I have the friends I have.
Right.
They aren't judgy. They aren't thinking, is Sean gonna think I'm like kind of queer because I say this,
exactly.
or because I
like
think
you don't
this,
have,
or because I wear this? It's like, dude, you can be yourself. Wear whatever the fuck you want. Be yourself.
Right.
If one of my best friend Austin told me tomorrow that he's thinking about starting to suck dicks, I would be like, dude, tell me about that. What's up? What's up with this transformation?
Right.
Or what are you going to go after tall guys, skinny guys? Right. I mean, I would be just curious about it. I wouldn't be afraid or anything. No. I would, because I love him.
Right.
I want him to be happy. And that's, I think, that disconnect between being afraid to let somebody know that you genuinely want them to be happy and being afraid that they're going to judge you. Yeah. And you just need to get over that shit. And at some point, just go, dude, I love you.
Yeah. Like, and I imagine how much fucking better the world would be if that was just a thing.
Totally.
I'd imagine how many problems would be solved. I mean, it's crazy. It's like maybe that's a huge part of the answer there. You know what I mean? And it's especially with males. It is a male thing, especially. I mean, obviously, women, they're competitive, they're territorial as well. That can happen.
Yeah, they'll say, "I love you, girl. I love you, you fucking bitch,"
and then talk shit behind their
bitch.
back.
I can't stand. She's so gross. Oh my god, But
I try to tell Nikki all the time, like she doesn't understand. Like, for men, when two men go to the movies together, they'll often sit one seat in between them. That's not uncommon. It's not. It's just a weird guy thing.
Well, dudes don't go fucking when there's urinals, because we don't have dividers between urinals in almost every bathroom. Your dick is out, and there's no barrier between you and a guy, and there could be 5 urinals. You don't go right up to the fucking. It's just a personal space thing.
Sure, yeah.
But that's usually with strangers.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I have to stand there and hold my bro's hand. Fucking, we'll definitely have space, but at the same time, I give them hugs. Fucking always my best friend, my brother, my other best friend. I mean, we let each other know we love each other, because it's not like we need the affirmation and the I still love you, bro. You're still important. It's that we
if it's
We
exactly.
do
if it's a real
care about each
thing.
other. We support each other. I have my boy's back no matter what his day is.
Yeah.
No matter what my boys got going on, my bros. I fucking care about you. You can call me. I'm going to be there for you.
Right.
I'm your family. And that's what that means. When I say I love you, it's just to remind them, dude, I'm always here for you. And that's the quickest way to just sum that up. I'm always here for you. I'll always care about you.
But you mean it. Because it's so easy to say that.
And they mean it. And that's why we'll hug, or, and we have that sharing of stuff, because we all go through shit. My day is not perfect. I go fucking.
Nobody says.
And I'm a single guy too. So when I get that affection from whoever it is, I mean, we hug in my family and stuff. Affection is important, but I'm not looking for just random hugs either.
Right.
My shit is fucking, I'm very picky about who I give my love to, who I give my time to.
As you should be.
Who I fucking text, who I call, all of that stuff. I'm so like, because I am a very powerful dude in my energy and what I have to give. So that's why I'm picky about that shit.
Right.
I can't go wasting my stuff, man.
Well, for me, as I grew as a tattoo artist, I noticed it immediately. It's like, oh yeah, as soon as the more popular I got, suddenly I was surrounded.
Everybody loves you.
The best friends.
Everybody loves you.
Yeah, and it's like, it's funny how my best friends just kind of wanted free tattoos. You know what I mean? It's funny how my real friends would never even consider asking for a free tattoo.
You know me, I almost have to beg you to like take cash from me.
Right.
When it's just, I'm just like, Joshua.
Yeah, because that's what we do. You know what I mean? Like you'll pay me in advance or whatever, or I'll just say, you know what, I really want to do this. I'm not even going to charge you. Yeah. But then you still pay my hourly rate. You know what I mean? You always have, which I've always appreciated, because there's been a couple of times that, looking at my schedule, Nikki's like, oh, that's Sean McCoy today, so that's going to be no money. And I'm like, no, Sean's never, ever. And she's like, really? Didn't he pay you like 2 months ago? And I'm like, yeah, but he's never, ever. That's not Sean. And she was like, oh, you know what I mean? So like, because some people like, they'll pay me ahead of time, or will fit maybe sometimes. I hate charging by the hour because I feel like I have to rush. So sometimes I'll give them a set price, and they'll just have it, and they'll be like, I'm just going to pay you now so I don't. And then you never see another dime, which is on me because I took that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, real friends do take care of you. And you know what I mean? Like, even if you didn't have any money, you'd probably tell me before you even came in, so I didn't expect it, and bring me lunch, at least.
I always try to show you
right
that I appreciate you.
And that's kind of all I'm saying, is just like, that's why
it's a gratuity.
You, Sean King, exactly. Like, I've made a few really good friends through tattooing. I'm tattooing a woman tomorrow named Lori. She's one of my absolute favorite people. I've gotten to know her really well. She's went through some really terrible hardships. Her house burned down like the day before Christmas. She lost her brother.
I gotta go pee real quick.
Cool. But she's absolutely one of the sweetest women that I've ever met, and I'm super excited to tattoo her tomorrow. Do you ever watch any, like, do you ever follow any YouTube videos at all? Do you ever get on that?
Dude, I was online last night on YouTube, just watching like music videos and stuff. I don't want to sound like a big fucking pussy, but I'm gonna sound like a big fucking pussy right now. I was watching some emotional shit, and I was letting some emotions out, man. I had, a serious emotional event like about a month ago.
Right.
And there's been stuff going on in my heart and in my fucking body and in my body. I could like feel it, tension in my body.
I bet. You just need to see your masseuse.
I did see my masseuse, and that helped a lot, but still just angst and shit. Last week when I did squats right before our fucking podcast that day, I was fucking aggro. I mean, I was aggro. I was feeling angry
at the situation that happened.
I just like anything in general. And that,
right.
And then I realized it was probably had to do with that situation. So I went and I did squats, and I was thinking about what had happened. And while I was doing my squats, while I was pushing through those fucking Bulgarian squats, and then, I mean, it helped. It literally helped push out that fucking stagnant emotion that was in there, like eating away at me, because I could feel it was unhealthy, man. And, no amount of like smoke, vape, CBDs, THC, none of that shit was helping. If anything, it was making it worse.
And that stress, I know you know this, but keeps your cortisol levels high.
So
which is not going to be conducive.
And I totally understand that. And I didn't want to carry that energy or any negative energy over into the podcast later that day. And I didn't feel like I did. I felt like I got it out at the gym.
Important.
That's why the gym is badass for me. And that's why it's so fucking crucial. That's why I was busy the last 3 days. Memorial Day was Monday, and the gym was closed, and I did some yard work. I did some more yard work.
Kept yourself busy still.
Did some busy shit. Hung out with a couple friends. One of my friends was coming through town from he was in Seaside, and he lives down in California. He just wanted. I didn't even know he was going to be in town. He hit me up, bro. I'm going to be in town. The only person I want to see is you.
Nice.
So we did. We went out to lunch, and then I hung out with another friend, and we went out to sushi for dinner. And it was a nice chill evening and stuff. And then Tuesday and Wednesday I worked, and a lot of manual labor shit I was doing. And then today's Thursday, and I fucking went, made sure I got to the gym and worked out, and now we doing the podcast.
Nice, man.
So I did, but last night, man, I don't know what it was. I was watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Fucking like my favorite show.
That show never gets old.
Dude, it's so brilliant. Yeah. That show is so fucking brilliant. The symbolism and all that stuff. We'll get into that later on. I can't talk enough about how much I love Always Sunny. Yeah. If you don't like Always Sunny, give it another try.
If you've tried it and you're like, it's not what you thought, I promise you got to give it another
First
shot.
off, I mean, you do have to have a wild sense of humor,
sure.
or at least a really kind of a little bit of a dark sense of humor, because they're horrible. They're
just terrible people.
Horrible people. So know that as a premise. These aren't good people. But the main actors that are the horrible people are the writers and the main creators of the show. And they're all married to each other in real life.
That's what's so cool.
Yeah, man. It's
like Charlie really did get the waitress.
They're brilliant. Yeah. Charlie, got the waitress for life. Yeah. But everybody else has fucked her in the show but him, which is it's the best art. I mean, that's why it adds to it, and it's just so fucking brilliant. But I was watching that, and then I don't know what it was, but I decided to go, it was Rob Thomas. So I was watching the fucking episode, Dennis's erotic memoirs. Dennis Reynolds' An Erotic Life, I think is what it's called. And it's an episode with Sinbad and Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. That's how badass that show is. Rob Thomas was down to play that role, where he's Sinbad's bitch in that one. So Sinbad fucking with Rob Thomas and with Dennis, the Glenn Howerton dude that plays Dennis, and he's in a rehabilitation center and shit. And they're all in a room together in robes and stuff. And Sinbad's leaning over. He's all, "You my bitch. That's right. I got one eye on you, one eye on Rob Thomas." And my fucking Rob Thomas, he's all, "Sing something, Rob Thomas. Shut up." Totally owns his ass and shit. And then my fucking Rob Thomas, the only thing he says in that whole episode is just, "Watch your ass, new meat." And I'm just like, oh my God, dog, you killed it. You killed those fucking like 5 words, right? So then I went on to watch Matchbox 20 because people that don't remember, that motherfucker was like the heartthrob of 1998. He had, that album came out, and they sold like 20 million, 30 million worldwide. I mean, it was on every radio and shit. I hated Matchbox 20. I didn't have their album. My brother's girlfriend and my other brother's girlfriend both had Matchbox 20. I had like 3 albums of that shit.
It was always just kind of just there for me.
So, it was just, it's fucking romantic, alternative rock or whatever. But Rob Thomas had skills. And then I remember how many women were in love with him and how he was this like sex icon and shit. And I was like, that chump and shit. I didn't get that just being a decent looking guy and having a voice really could play huge, especially when you're on a stage.
Right.
So I remember when I got it was when I saw his wife, because he was a bachelor for a while. And then he like picked this ultra dime, like this, like she had like dark features, dark hair, this like exotic look. And I was like, oh shit, he got her. Damn, damn. And then I was like, okay, Rob Thomas, respect, brah. And then I hadn't heard about him or seen him in anything. Who gives a fuck about Matchbox 20?
Right.
Until I saw him in that episode of Always Sunny, and it just sealed the deal. I was like, dude, how fucking badass are you? Your sense of humor is on point. You were down to play this fucking shit role.
It's funny when you never know sometimes, like, I'm a big Saturday Night Live fan, and like Justin Timberlake is funny as fuck. And like, who would it, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like, right? Like he's one of the best they've had in a long time. I love
JT.
Right?
So I grew up not liking NSYNC.
Going on down to Burgerville.
I was, all the girls growing up liked NSYNC because I was 12 years old in 97, 98, 99, 13, 14, 99, whatever. And fuck NSYNC. Fuck Backstreet Boys. Fuck all these boy band shit.
I didn't give a shit about any of that.
Bunch of, a bunch of puffs.
That's why when he was on, I was just like, holy shit, this guy's hilarious.
So much game. Along with that, too. So I did not give Justin Timberlake any props until I saw that scuffle between Cameron Diaz and that chick that Justin had brought to whatever event it was on the red carpet. Cameron Diaz, because he had dated Cameron Diaz for a minute. And I grew up like in love with Cameron Diaz. There's Something About Mary is one of my favorite movies of all fucking time. She's such a badass in that movie. She's my dream girl, you know? I mean, she didn't really have the ass I would want. And she's white as fuck. But the fact that she smoked weed, she was a 49ers fan. She was badass. She was a doctor. Cool chick, dude. Cool chick.
Right.
And I loved that movie growing up. It's the movie of my fucking generation, or one of them. So I loved Cameron Diaz. And then I saw her flip her wig, go crazy, and fucking punch a bitch and throw down on the red carpet because this chick's with her ex-man who she's still in love with and crazy about. So I was like, damn, Timberlake, what type of dick you packing, bro? You got that money package, and it ain't the millions. So that's when I had to respect. I was like, this guy's got game on all sorts of levels I've never seen. If you can make that girl fucking freak out and act a fool with all those cameras around and shit, she wasn't even thinking. She went into, bitch, I'm gonna fuck you up mode.
Nice. Immediately.
Because you whipped my dick.
Right.
And that's when I was like, this guy might be worth fucking giving a follow. And so I just started listening to his shit. And I mean, say what you want about that whole fucking album where he came out with Rip and Britney Spears, the fuck Cry Me a River and stuff. I love that's like an anthem. If any dude's ever been broke up with by a chick and then like, got their shit together, kept it strong, advanced, progressed, and turned themselves into something better, and then looked at that woman a couple years later and she ain't doing so good, and you didn't wish that upon her, but that was just her trajectory in life, and then you went into this other thing and stayed on point with your shit, and look, you a success, or at least you're doing better than you had maybe thought, or she definitely thought you were going to do.
Absolutely.
Hey, that was a mistake on your side. Well, guess what? I'm going to make a fucking $1 billion off of that mistake you made, bitch. And he fucking threw that rhyme out. And I was like, I want to watch where Brittany goes from here, and all of a sudden she's shaving her head, her ass is hanging out at the soccer
Eating buckets
field.
of chicken.
Nobody's fighting over her.
That's a perfect example of something that I've noticed as I've gotten myself healthier. I'm fortunately in a very healthy relationship, but if you've been in a relationship, you know what I mean, and it's been toxic, or a girl broke up with you, a guy broke up with you, whatever, the best possible thing you can do is work on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, get yourself mentally and physically healthy, and like just focus on making you the better version of yourself, and everything's going to take care of itself.
Yeah. So a lot of relationships don't work out because they're just codependent. Mm-hmm. Somebody's looking for that person to make them happy. Mm-hmm. And instead of being happy themselves, instead of going out and doing the things, becoming the person that somebody would want to be with.
Yeah.
You
ever hear the saying, the person that's less in love is the one in control? You know what I mean? Well,
and I think you really have to have a ton of self-love to be able to be loved properly.
Absolutely.
So if you're not,
that's a big thing. You've heard that your whole life. You can't love somebody if you don't love yourself. But as you get older, you really learn
it's one of those super cheesy things you see knitted on shit.
That's the quote you should have got with your bro, the tattoo.
It's not too late.
Right.
I can always. there's plenty of space on the leg. This leg's completely clear.
Tattooed on Randy's balls.
Yeah. Well, he gets mad love when his balls swell up because his woman can't take her eyes off of the package. Yeah, and then the bigger they get, the more he can't be left alone.
Right.
And there's that mammalian response between like your testicles, male's testicles directly grow in response to the amount of promiscuous women in their given area. So if you hang out with a ton of sluts, your balls are going to get big because they got to keep up.
Sure.
That is just straight up.
That's funny. I know we're completely switched topic. We were just off topic. I know. Sorry. But I did read. So like, we're on Earth to procreate. We're on Earth to, continue the population, like basically at all costs. That's life. So, but a man can have sex with a woman and then he's done. You know what I mean? Unless there's another woman to fuck. And then he's not done. He's ready. If it's weird, like that's how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and obviously that makes sense because of procreate. The more chances.
You mean he's always got some nut left?
A little bit left if it's another woman.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Now I've read this. Do you know what I mean?
The bro science seems like it works out.
Right.
I might need a mate and a sandwich.
Right. Yeah.
Give me like 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying, to catch my breath.
Right.
Stretch.
I'm fascinated by like when you boil it down to why we're here. You know what I mean? Dude, and that's a whole nother podcast, but I'm definitely super fascinated.
That's many podcasts.
Yeah. Like the more and more I get healthy, the more I look into the past of humans. And just the whole reason we're here, what the purpose or the goal, you know what I mean? And it really just boils down to survival.
One of the best questions somebody ever asked me that really sparked the deepest of my thoughts, and got me on going down the rabbit hole, was, why is gold so valuable? Why do we base things off gold currency? Mm-hmm. Why do humans like gold? What's up with the history of that? And that's a really good question. There was Zachariah Sitchin was saying that humans were created by Anunnaki, that we were, created by aliens by splicing DNA with maybe a primates that were here, or some form of early humanoid. And then we were created to be a slave class to mine gold. That was one of his theory. Mm-hmm. And he did a lot of research into that. And that being just a very basic conspiracy theory or belief or idea maybe of our origins, that's pretty stimulating.
Sure.
And it really did spark a lot of thought.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. And like some of the best, speaking of up at night, some of the best conversations are with friends late at night like that, when you're like, man, it's 4:00 in the morning. We should probably go to bed. But what about diamonds though? You know what I mean? Like, let's just start.
I'm way too faded by that time.
Right.
I'm in bed by midnight.
Right.
But when we're hanging out and it's like right now and stuff, and I get to smoke a joint, or I get to do whatever and do my thing, and I get to hang with you, and then you say stuff about that, and then I start talking about my stuff, and I start talking about primates and maybe the stoned ape theory, and then okay, so did primates come out of the forests and jungles and then come into the grasslands and find certain forms of fungus or mana or whatever you want to call it, some hallucinogenic type spores, consume those, get different blood flow going, creating in the brain, expanding their brains and their consciousness, and developing more levels of thought, more conscious thought, and then awareness, true awareness. Who knows?
It just all seems so logical. You know,
I mean, that does seem logical, but at the same time, we're talking, I mean, and that totally could be how early hominids did develop some forms of consciousness, or at least higher levels of intellect, to be able to live and interact with the rest of the world. But who knows? We're so confused now because of all the education, because of all the religions, because of all the mass, genocides and the conquests and all these things, that knowledge. And, in the conquests, the conquistadors went through and they took all the religious manuscripts and all that knowledge, anything that had any type of knowledge other than what was being put out by the church, and burned it, because that was truth that could not be shared or continued. You have to get into our book. You got to get into our world. You got to start believing this Jesus thing.
Our gang.
Otherwise, you got to go, And so, I mean, you always have to take things with a grain of salt, and you always want to keep an open mind. I never have this formed picture of what happened in the past or where the future's going or anything figured out. It's always this moving kind of a picture.
Yeah, and I think that's a healthy way to look at it. You have to be open-minded. You have to be, you have to think with logic and reason. You can't, I think most humans, and I'm certainly guilty of it, is, as soon as you find whatever you're looking for, you're done. You know what I mean? It's like, let's say that you're really into fasting. You know what I mean? As soon as I read an article about fasting being healthy, I'm done. But as soon as I see maybe some negative stuff, I'm like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You got to be able to kind of weigh both. You really have to you research it. Speaking of fasting, my older sister is very worried about it for me, and I've done tons and tons and tons of research, and I'm very, I'm healthy with it. But she's constantly sending me articles about things and stuff.
Good.
It's like, and that's just her loving me. You know what I mean? She's not trying to negate what I'm doing. She's just worried about her little brother. You know what I mean? It was kind of me and her against the world when we were growing up. You know what I mean? So I have two sisters, but anyway, so you just have to be able, love researching, but don't just find your agenda.
You don't want to be subjective about things.
Yeah.
You want to be objective, which means you want to look at things from a fair, neutral viewpoint.
Yeah.
You want to try to be as neutral or unbiased about the things, this knowledge or information when you're assimilating it and incorporating it. And that's where the art of truth, that's why, it's my truth. Well, I've lived a certain life and I've experienced things. So my perspective is more attuned to other things.
Yeah, this goes back to when we started with, you had lived plenty of life beforehand. So your truth, you could have a little bit of heavier weight to things that people haven't lived through.
And, that's not to say that my truth is any more real than anybody else's truth, but it's definitely given me a perspective. Having been in a pit, I didn't know. So when I left the room to go pee in our last podcast, I really did leave the room. You can't see it on video, but I did. And Joshua went into some anecdotes of his, his weight loss and how his ass has gotten fucking bony because he's losing weight so fast. Well, I can totally empathize with that. I had absolutely no ass, less than an ass than you have. So that's when I'm showing you body squats, and I'm showing you these are the building blocks to be able to getting you into the gym, or where, to be able to get that fucking exercise, the squats in and the lunges and the things that are going to build your ass up, because that's going to happen at some point where you're not there yet, but you will be there. And when you're there, we'll share that with everybody too. And then you'll be able to go, and I can actually sit for a little bit longer because I got cushion, and it's not fucking cellulite and it's not this other bullshit. It's muscle. And so, but that was just part of, you were talking about other stuff too, and you went dark. You went into the suicides.
I got kind of dark on the last episode.
I liked it. It wasn't too funny when you went super dark, but that's real. And that's what I love about, that's why I like Always Sunny. It's dark, but it's funny as fuck. And that's life, man. I mean, you can go from light to dark as long as you're comfortable in recognizing that is life. Life has the it's a beautiful balance of
can't have the dark without the light.
Exactly. You can't have that shit. And so many people are afraid to experience sadness and experience fucking grief and feel like shit and to look at themselves honestly and go, I don't like how I treat people, or I'm not happy with myself. So I'm reflecting that on people, and maybe I'm snarky, or maybe I'm cunty, or maybe I'm not.
How many comedians are the darkest people they're hiding behind that.
But that's their exercise too. A lot of them fucking get their anger and their shit out, like Chris D'Elia. He comes across as like egotistical and a little arrogant and all this shit, but he's just flexing that stuff out. He's getting it out of him. It's just like when I go to the gym and I'm working on all the stuff, the high weight shit, and then fucking, getting my aggression out in a healthy way. And I don't have to bottle that up and carry it around with me the rest of the day or the rest of the week. And that's why I do it. That's why I fucking love having a healthy place to let that shit out. Otherwise you keep it in you. And I'm one of those guys, when it stays in me, watch the fuck out.
Yeah, sure.
So you got to figure that stuff out. You have to keep it real with you. I have to keep it real with myself. That's who I am, man.
Yeah.
I have to do that. Otherwise I'll flex the cunt on somebody. I'll be a dick and I'll be aggressive, and then I'll have to go, shit, man, that's not who I am. Yeah. I mean, that was how I acted, but that's not who I want to be, and that's not who I've worked hard to be. I'm not selfish. I'm not these things that I have been in the past, or that are still, completely possible to fucking do from fucking hour to hour, minute to minute. I mean, you can always choose to react a certain way, but that's why, having to learn that shit about me, all that dark shit about me, it wasn't fun necessarily,
right?
Especially when I was really depressed and stuff, because sitting in a jail cell is not fun. Yeah. Having your asshole checked, that shit ain't fun, right. Having to be in handcuffs or look at your parents or your siblings or anybody you love through
just the
plate of glass ain't fun.
Just the thought of like, is this fucking rock bottom? Am I going to go worse than this?
Yeah. What is rock bottom?
Yeah. And then, is this my fucking life now?
One of the most scary things for people is not knowing why they do things. So if you're so out of control, you don't even know why you're living the life that you live.
Yeah.
I bet you scared as fuck.
Yeah.
And it's not impossible. And it's really actually fucking awesome to be able to gain some control in your life at any point. Now, I was thinking about this earlier. There's one of my favorite fucking movie scenes of all time, and a really powerful moment that I learned. And it was because I remember saying in our last podcast that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge of self is power. Knowing yourself, super important. That gives you power over your decisions, over, your actions, a whole list of things, let alone your destiny. If you can control how you're going to live and how you want to live, how you're going to interact, how you coexist, it goes a long way into being able to decide what your tomorrow is going to be like.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of that comes with understanding what your yesterday and all that shit, where that came from, and owning that on a day-to-day basis. So knowledge is power. Beyond that, knowledge of around you, what's going on around me, being aware, wanting to be in tune so you can coexist. And then beyond that, what's on the macro, what's going on in the world, what was history, what's the perspective, where's this fucking big train going at the end of this tunnel? Right. Trying to just be aware. So if fucking the nuclear arsenals kick off and shit, I'll meditate and I'll phase out of this shit, and maybe we'll come back in another 1,000 years. Maybe my spirit will make the circle around again. I don't know.
I think it's a great attitude to have, though, and like you're doing it, you're speaking on the level of exactly what I was talking about. Like, as a male, you're not having that ego or afraid to progress, to show love, to share love, to love yourself, and to be the best man you can be.
Well, I don't know if
it's a work in progress every day.
So in that, I love that. So the movie clip I was going to talk about was Schindler's List. It's when Eamon Gert, who is Ray Fiennes, sitting there drunk as fuck on his patio. And it's just him and Schindler. It's him and Liam Neeson. I mean, the cinematography in that movie alone is worth watching every fucking year. It's brilliant. Yeah. Probably Spielberg's best movie of all time. But he's sitting there drunk, and Schindler had just had a talk with the maid who Gert is in love with, but she's saying to him, like, she's so scared, and the commandant, who's Gert, she has absolutely no idea from one day to another what's going to set him off. Why he randomly kills this woman or that woman. She's just scared. She's petrified every second around this guy. And so she tells Schindler this, and he tells her, he does this because they mean nothing to him. He loves you. He cares about you. Don't worry. Then to go kind of calm him down on the patio, it's just those two guys, and he tries to give him a little bit of knowledge real quick. And it's fucking powerful, but it doesn't stick. He's sitting there calm, and Gert had just stumbled. He falls down. Still got his drink in his hand, and he looks up, and he gets up in his chair, and he looks at Schindler like, he goes, I look at you. I see you. You have control. You're not a drunk. Control is power. That's power. And he goes, you think that's power? That's what Schindler says back to him. Goes, there's different forms of power. Goes, and he spits this little lie to the guy real quick to try to kick some heart into him and some wisdom. He goes, so let me tell you something. He goes, Gert goes, well, he says to him, well, is that real power? And he goes, well, there's different forms of power. And Gert goes, well, we have the power to kill these guys, and he goes, oh, is that power? Let me tell you what power is. This worthless man goes in front of the emperor. He has stole something. He knows he's going to lose his life. So he begs to the emperor. And the emperor pardons him. This is a worthless man. What does he care? He goes, the power to decide life and death is not power. When you have every reason to take a man's life, but you don't, that is power. And it's heavy. I mean, he goes, you could be justified. I mean, the symbolism in that, you have every reason to take somebody's life or to do something that you feel justified in doing. If society says so, if the rules say so, if the testaments say so, whatever the fuck your basis is for determining that judgment and that justification. But choosing beyond that to do the right thing is power. And it sinks into Gert for about a day. And he tries to live that way the next, few scenes. And then he ends up killing some random dude who pisses him off. And he realizes that's just not his character. Right. But that scene is so powerful because I loved how he tried to interject a little bit of wisdom into him. And that stuck with me hard. Yeah. Hard. Because I've been in funky positions and had to think, is this worth doing? So beyond taking somebody's life, think about, is this worth doing? Is it eating a donut worth doing? Is flipping somebody off because they cut you off or they took too quick into your lane or because they're not letting you merge? Freaking out on somebody, is that worth doing? Or can you just breathe and go, I'm so happy to be alive, have all my body parts, have everything functioning, be in good shape. Look at the positives of stuff instead of looking at why something is, pissing you off, irritating you, and why you should fucking go and do something negative because of that. So, I mean, that was some mushy shit, and I wish I could have told the story a little bit better. But
no, man, I love it. I think that I was going to counteract with some things like how sometimes when I'm really pissed off or mad at, I always say I have the Carlton curse when shit doesn't go my way. You know what I mean? And then I'll see some guy pushing himself along the street in a wheelchair, and I have to kind of take a moment to reflect on that. But to be honest with you, I don't really have anything to say to top how awesome that was. So, all right. With that being said, I think we should wrap it up here, man. That was beautiful, man. And fuck yeah, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll be back next week.
Hell yeah.
Thanks a lot.